Under the blinding lights of The Pulse, the most explosive talk show in America, the air crackles with tension as two titans prepare to clash. On one side, Samuel L. Jackson, Hollywood legend, king of charisma, and one of Trump's fiercest critics. On the other, Karoline Leavitt, the youngest White House press secretary in history, a 27-year-old firebrand ready to defend her president against the glitz and glamour of liberal Hollywood. The audience holds its breath. The internet is already buzzing. The question on everyone's mind: can a young, razor-sharp conservative woman outmaneuver one of the most iconic actors of our time? Or will Jackson's star power crush her before she even gets a word in? The stage is set, the cameras roll, and what happens next will send shockwaves across the country. The moment Karoline Leavitt stepped onto the Pulse stage, she felt the weight of the moment settle onto her shoulders like a mantle. This wasn't just another media appearance, it was a gladiatorial arena, and she was walking into the lion's den. The studio hummed with nervous energy, the audience a sea of eager faces, some already whispering behind their hands, others filming on their phones, hungry for the drama they knew was coming. The set itself was designed for confrontation. Two chairs angled toward each other, close enough that the tension would be palpable. The host's podium positioned like a referee's stand between them. And there, sprawled in his seat with the relaxed arrogance of a man who had spent decades commanding attention, was Samuel L. Jackson. He didn't just occupy space, he dominated it. His presence was a gravitational pull, his every movement calculated to exude effortless cool. He had spent years eviscerating Trump on social media, turning the former president into a punchline with a few well-placed tweets. Now, he was face-to-face with one of Trump's most loyal defenders, and the smirk playing at the corners of his mouth said he was already tasting victory. The host, Marcus Tate, was a seasoned provocateur, a man who had built his career on orchestrating televised blood sport. He grinned like a man who had just lit the fuse on a powder keg. "Samuel," he began, his voice smooth, "you've never been one to mince words when it comes to President Trump. Now you're sitting across from his press secretary. Care to share those thoughts with Karoline here?" The audience tittered, a mix of excitement and unease rippling through the room. Jackson didn't miss a beat. He leaned forward, elbows resting on his knees, his voice dripping with that signature blend of charm and venom. "Oh, I'll share, Marcus," he said, his tone deceptively light. "See, I've played a lot of characters in my time, villains, heroes, guys who talk a big game but fold under pressure. But Trump, man, he's like a straight-to-DVD movie that somehow got a theatrical release. You ever seen a film where the plot makes zero sense, the acting's laughable, but the lead just keeps screaming, 'I'm the greatest,' like he's trying to convince himself? That's your president." The audience erupted, some in uproarious laughter, others in indignant shouts. Jackson leaned back, satisfied. First strike landed, but Karoline didn't react the way he expected. She didn't stiffen, didn't flush with anger, didn't scramble for a response. Instead, she sat perfectly still, her gaze locked onto him, with the intensity of a predator assessing its prey. When Tate turned to her, his voice laced with amusement, "Karoline, your response." She didn't rush. She let the silence stretch, let the tension coil tighter, let the audience lean in just a little more. Then, with a calm that cut through the noise like a scalpel, she spoke. "Mr. Jackson," she began, her voice measured but edged with steel. "You're an incredible actor, one of the best, no question. But here's the thing about the roles you play, they're fiction. And the stories you're telling about President Trump, that's pure Hollywood fantasy." The crowd gasped. Jackson's smirk flickered, just for a fraction of a second. She didn't give him time to recover. "You joke about bad movies, but let's talk about reality. Under President Trump, unemployment hit historic lows, not just overall, but for Black Americans, for Hispanic Americans, for communities that had been left behind for decades. Wages rose faster than they had in years. Small businesses thrived. That's not a script, Mr. Jackson. That's people's lives. But I get it. It's a lot easier to sit in a luxury trailer between takes and tweet out insults than it is to actually look at the facts. The room exploded. Cheers, boos, a few stunned murmurs. Jackson's eyes narrowed. He hadn't expected this. Hadn't expected her. Tate, sensing blood in the water, pounced. "Samuel, she's not backing down. What's your counter?" Jackson shifted in his seat, his usual unflappable cool faltering for just a heartbeat. "Oh, I got plenty," he shot back, his voice regaining some of its swagger. Like how those historic lows came with prices skyrocketing. You ever talk to a single mom paying double for groceries thanks to Trump's tariffs? Ever ask her how great the economy is? The liberal side of the audience clapped, rallying behind him. But Karoline was ready. "Actually, I have talked." "To them," she fired back, her voice sharpening. "Because unlike some people in this room, I didn't grow up with a Hollywood paycheck. I know what struggle looks like. I've seen parents working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. And you know what's worse than high prices? No jobs, no hope. That's what President Trump inherited, and that's what he fixed. But hey, if you'd rather crack jokes than credit the man who brought back American jobs, that's on you." The room went electric. Twitter exploded. Leavitt destroys. Jackson started trending within minutes. Jackson, now fully on the defensive, tried to pivot. "You're good at speeches, kid, but Trump's still the guy who can't spell hamburger without a cheat sheet." The audience chuckled, but it was weak, forced. Karoline didn't blink. "And you're still the guy who took a photo with him at Mar-a-Lago in 2015, smiling like old pals. Funny how that didn't make it into your tweets." The room gasped. Jackson's face went slack. A producer somewhere must have pulled up the photo, because within seconds, it was on the big screen behind them. Jackson, grinning, shaking Trump's hand at a charity event. The silence was deafening. Karoline pressed her advantage. "See, mister. Jackson, that's the difference between us. I don't just attack when it's convenient. I stand by what I believe. Every day, you'll pose for pictures, then pretend you weren't there when it suits you. So tell me, who's really acting here?" The crowd roared. Jackson opened his mouth, closed it. For the first time in his career, he had no comeback. By the time the show ended, the internet had already crowned Karoline the undisputed victor. Memes flooded social media. Jackson photoshopped into a movie titled Owned by Leavitt. Karoline holding a mic with the caption, "When Truth Meets Hollywood." Even Trump tweeted, "Karoline Leavitt, a star who knows how to fight for America." Jackson, meanwhile, slunk off stage, his usual swagger conspicuously absent. But as Karoline walked out of the studio, the cheers of the crowd fading behind her, she didn't celebrate. She pulled out her phone, saw the notifications. Trending. Worldwide, and sighed. This wasn't about winning a TV battle. It was about proving that truth could outshine fame, that hard work could beat Hollywood glitz. And as she got into the car, heading home to her family, one question lingered in her mind. If Samuel L. Jackson, a cultural icon, couldn't shake her, who could? What do you think? Could Hollywood's biggest stars ever take down a conservative fighter like Karoline? Drop a comment, and don't forget to subscribe for more explosive showdowns.